Yo, what is going on, everybody? Shri Kanase here. So $23,363 in 7 days case study. Now, these results are not crazy results at all. A lot of people look at this number and think that that is an absolutely insane number and it's almost impossible to do. But trust me, that is far from the case. I used to think the same when I first began with Shopify dropshipping, and I've done a lot of larger numbers than these in the 7 days. But this 7-day case study is actually a special one simply because the time period before the last 7 days was actually quite a rough time period for this Shopify dropshipping store. And this is one of my main Shopify general stores that I run via Google Ads. A lot of people don't really share their downs when they're not really doing that well. But this store was actually one that was not performing the best before this last 7-day time period, simply because of the change in season from August to September. People go from buying summer stuff to winter stuff, and this change can be one of the most drastic downfalls when it comes to Shopify dropshipping, simply because of the change in buying intent, buying volume. A lot of the old products start to die out, new products start to kind of sell. But during this time period, it's a very uncertain time period simply because of the change in seasonality. But without wasting any more time, let's just get right into it and see exactly how I was able to do over $23,000 in the past 7 days. First thing you'll have to do in order to find any type of success with this video, however, is to destroy the like button down below until it turns blue. Promise, not gonna take more than 2 quick seconds. Okay, hopefully you have destroyed the like button down below. But I have order metrics open for you guys right here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna refresh this page just so you guys know that this is 100% real data, nothing that I just photoshopped or inspect elemented. So as you guys can see, $23,363 with about $11,000 in cost of goods. There are 25% of the orders missing cost of goods as they have not been fully ordered yet, but we're gonna count this in when we calculate the overall profits for this. But this is pretty much how it looks right here. If we look at the chart, this is how the chart looks so far. Some ups and downs, of course, that's just how business works, but that is pretty much it for the actual data. Let's move on now to our actual slides to go over exactly how I was able to do this. So again, 23 grand in about 7 days. That roughly equates to a little over $3,000 per day in sales, about $3,500. But this is the complete case study on how I was able to do this. Before we go into exactly what the ads were, products, and so forth, let's do a quick breakdown of the store. So right here, as you guys can see, I've done roughly $23,363 in sales with about $3,000 of cost of goods that I did not really, as you guys saw with the cost of the goods section on order metrics, it was not fully there. And right here, total cost again, $14,000 with the miscellaneous expenses because I have 4 employees for this store doing a variety of different tasks. I have different apps for this store, transaction fees. That equates to about $700 within the past 7 days. For the ads, if we go on to our Google Ads dashboard, we can see that from September 23rd to September 29th, we have spent roughly right over here $4,741.67. That's just via Google Ads only. This conversion value right here, it's not fully up to date as Google takes just 14 days, even around 7 days to really allocate all of the proper data to the proper campaigns and proper products. So trust me when I say that 99% of the sales from the store came from Google Ads, simply because for the other platforms, as you guys will soon see, I'm not really using them heavily. But in total, I did spend about $5,000, give or take, with the ads, which brings me to a total profit of about $3,600. And that is about 15% in profit margins after paying for employees, doing all of those expenses and such in the last 7 days. Plus, I'm not really counting the credit card points, but just for paying all of these expenses, I was able to get a large sum of credit card points, which I've not added to the profits. So that should make this number go a little bit higher than what it is currently. If you guys want me to do a video on credit card points, how that works for dropshipping, the best credit cards and so forth, leave a comment down below and I will look into that. But $3,600 for the past 7 days and about net profit. Moving on now to the ad section. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. So as I mentioned, Google Ads was 99% of my results. I'm not really running ads anywhere else besides Google at this point. One reason why this case study is special for me was because if we look at the data before the last 7 days, so if we go back and if we look at order metrics for this month, we can see that as a total in this month, this store has done $73,000. Not the best number because I've done a lot of larger numbers within the month for the store. In fact, on average, this store does $100,000 minimum. So $73,000 is actually a low number. Of course, August wasn't the best month either. So comparing to August, this month was definitely better. But the reason why this case study is so special is because, as you guys see, at the end of August, early September, the sales were decent, but they were not where I wanted them to be. As you guys can see, a lot of ups and downs. There were a lot of days when things were kind of going bad, and that was simply because of the transition from the season. So from going from summer into fall and winter. This happens year after year where people and their buying intent, buying trend completely changes. So this causes a lot of old products, which were winning products, to die out. During this time period when products start to die out, the Google Ads campaign kind of becomes a little bit anxious. It kind of starts going off, spending a lot of budget unnecessarily, and just going crazy, if you can call it that. This is simply because of the changing data. Google works on an algorithm basis. If you change the data that you're feeding Google, obviously it's going to react to that data. It's going to react to that change. It may not always be a good reaction, and a lot of the times it's actually not, because Google absolutely goes crazy. It likes to work with data that is already comfortable with, it already knows, and so forth. So during the summertime, it was working with data related to the summer products. It was well aware of that. It knew what the audience wanted, what people were searching for, and it was doing an amazing job showing it to the right audience. Come September, things just go off the cliff simply because of the changing data. Google needs a lot of extra time to kind of adapt to this change. In this case, it took about 15 days, and the campaigns within this ad account are running at around $700 a day in budget. So despite having such a big budget, it took about a half a month for the data to kind of get back on track. But around the 15th or so, as you guys can see, things took a little bit of a better turn. I also changed my main Google shopping campaign from maximize clicks into target ROAS, and I set the target ROAS percentage at 344%. Now, prior to September 15th, looking at the last 14 days worth of data, it was nowhere close to 344%. However, I still decided to set it at that T ROAS simply because I did not want my campaign performing at any percentage lower than that. That would put me at a total loss, which I did not want. So I did that. I went in and I changed it to 344%. So as you guys can see, the sales started to kind of become greater after that point. So at the highest peak, it was around $4,000 on September 18th. Of course, there were ups and downs like normal. That's just how Google Ads works. But overall, compared to this period was when it was starting to go back up. And today, so far, we have done about $4,800 in sales. It is 7:30 p.m. right now. That means by 12 a.m., it should go above $5,000 in sales. So just a little tweak in the campaign did the trick. And of course, this was actually not even a little trick. It was a big change, because changing the entire bidding strategy for a campaign, which has done over 6 figures in sales. This campaign, if we go back and look at the all-time data, especially, we can see just how much this campaign has spent. So looking at all time and just ranking by the overall cost, this campaign at the top is my general testing campaign running a $300 a day budget. As you guys can see, over time, it had spent $171,000 in sales, got me back 700 grand in sales. So this was a campaign with a lot of data. I decided to make that big change from maximize clicks, which it had been at for the past year and a half, to T ROAS, because the results that I was getting recently were just not profitable. They were not what I was expecting. So this change had to be done. And in the past 7 days, the change has paid off. So one thing I want you to take from this is always be willing to make new changes, despite how big of a change that is. I could have just stuck to that maximize click strategy because that is what had worked. That is what I was comfortable with, but I decided to do something else. And fortunately, it did end up working, at least within the last 7 days. But in addition to that shopping campaign, another thing I was doing was I was creating a bunch of different standalone campaigns for my main winning products with more than 5 sales within the last 7 days, or 1.0 ROAS above the break-even point. So for instance, if one of my products had a break-even ROAS of 3.0, I would want to create a standalone campaign for that if the ROAS currently within the last 7 days for that was 4.0 or above. So either or situation here, either it has 5 sales or more profitably, or 1.0 ROAS above the break even. I'm creating standalone campaigns for that, and I did that very rigorously within the last 7 days. As you guys saw, I had a bunch of campaigns running. In addition, I was creating search ads, SCAGs to be exact, for some of my main winning products, not in the hopes of that SCAGs campaign getting me sales, but rather for that SCAGs campaign to feed data to my main standalone campaign. And this is how Google works. If you create a search campaign, what Google does is it shows that search campaign to a bunch of new keywords within that search campaign, and then it takes that data within that search campaign and whatever keywords it has found and kind of distributes that data over to the standalone campaign for that same exact product. And that is where I've been seeing a lot of profitable results, not from the search campaign, but rather from the standalone campaign. So something you definitely want to give a go. Once you have that search campaign running, just let it run in the background. It's fine if it loses money, because in the end, you want that campaign to feed data to the standalone campaign and get your results that way. But in addition to Google Ads, 0.5% of sales came from Bing. Nothing different from what I've already shown in my YouTube channel. You can watch my video on Bing ads if you want to know more about it. But 2 general testing campaigns, one high bid at 40 cents, another low bid at 10 cents. And along with that, I had a company search campaign running, which is the basic norm that I usually have. In addition to that, I had Facebook ads running. Again, 0.5% came from there, with just retargeting, nothing too crazy, maybe testing a product here or there, but majority from Google ads. And finally, free Pinterest organic traffic. In order to receive that, you want to just have pins on your Pinterest account and just keep on pinning new product that you add onto your Pinterest account. You can fully automate this by downloading the Pinterest app on your Shopify store, and it should pin the products that you add newly consistent. But enough about the ads. Moving on now to the product section. Exactly what was I doing with my product? So during this time period from late August into early September, what I noticed was that there was a definite transition of the sales from higher ticket sales to then lower to mid ticket sales. Now, this does not mean I was not getting high ticket sales. Of course, I was still getting high ticket sales. However, the overall sales volume for my higher ticket sales kind of dropped down, and then my lower and mid ticket item sales increased significantly in the process. So average order profit for me decreased from about $100, $150 to about $50 to $60, because the products that were selling during this time period had a product price of around $100 to $150, whereas before my average sale price was about $200 and above. So that was one of the biggest differences I saw during that time period, and that is exactly what is still continuing on to this, more of the lower high ticket sales to medium high ticket sales, and $100 to $150 is considered lower high ticket. But in addition, what I was doing with my products is I was sourcing about 99% of it directly from eBay. Nowadays, I only fully use eBay. If you want to know more about how I source from eBay, you can get my Google Ads Mastery course, which goes over this Shopify store, which I'm covering right here, all of the strategies mentioned within it, and also how I was able to do over $1.5 million in sales since the beginning of 2020. But 99% of the sourcing happens from eBay. Only about 1% happens from AliExpress nowadays, even less than that, and I also have a private AliExpress supplier, which uses a faster shipping method to get my products to my customers quickly. I've personally realized the importance of having a business where your products are getting delivered within a timely manner rather than within 7 to 22 business days, because that is way too risky. You definitely don't want to be doing that, especially during Q4. But in addition, I transitioned from just using generic eBay suppliers and eBay products to now selling branded products. So for instance, I went from selling a generic TV to now selling Sony TVs. And this is just an example. I do not sell TVs, but what I'm trying to say is I was now able to sell branded products simply because I got approved to be a reseller for a lot of these branded products, and it is a whole process to get approved for that. I will be adding the process into my Google Ads Mastery course, another reason why you might want to get that course. But I was able to sell a lot of these branded products. Of course, with branded products, they already have organic searches, especially if you sell one of the better branded products, which a lot of people already know about, like the good established brand, and I was able to do that. So I was able to establish direct brand relationships and get special discounts for those products, which let me then sell those branded items at good prices and competitive prices. But that was pretty much it for my products. Nothing too crazy. This brought me into the back end now. What was I doing when it came to my back end? I had a custom professional video done for my Shopify store, meaning within my About Us section now I had a video instead of text which talked about my store, why it was made, and all sorts of stuff you would put inside the About Us, but rather there was a spokesperson now talking about my Shopify store within that video. That definitely boosted a lot of credibility for my Shopify store because now there's a real person on video camera talking about my store, talking about the shipping times, customer service contact number, how to reach us, and so forth, while establishing a direct connection with the viewer. So this was really able to kind of boost my overall conversion rates, my overall trustability that I had with my customers, simply because now I had a real face attached to this brand. In addition, I had one of my customer service representatives now start taking phone calls. So I was offering phone call service to my customers, where my customer service agent was directly picking up calls, answering their queries, and also reaching out to people that abandoned their cart. This led to a 5x in profits simply because now people were trusting us more. They were able to hear a voice behind this brand. And a lot of lost sales were able to be recovered. In addition, a lot of people who were wanting to place orders well above $1,000 in sales, we were able to do simply because now there was somebody guiding the customer, talking to them, answering their queries, because of course you want to be talking to somebody before you spend $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 on a product. So that was able to be done via the customer service agent. In addition, I had the email flows and the SMS flows redone because the old flows, they were not really performing that well. So what was done was they were completely revamped with a lot of new variations added to see exactly what is going to work the best. In addition, the final thing we did was add upsells and downsells. We revamped them from what they were previously, because of course you need to be revamping these things, looking to see any new stuff that can be added and looking to see what else can be changed, because this is a sort of a continuous testing process. You never want to become complacent with your Shopify store, regardless of what you're doing it, whether it is changing stuff on your website, adding new email flows, adding upsells and downsells, and so forth. You always want to be trying new stuff out and seeing where your profit margins are increasing, where your conversion rates are increasing, and so forth. But that was pretty much it for my $23,000 case study. There was nothing else that I was really doing here. These things kind of led up one after the other in progression to let me do this amount in sales, and that too profitably. Again, this was really special because of the past few weeks worth of data that I was getting and the overall profitability. But again, I'm going to be covering a lot of the things I mentioned here within my Google Ads Mastery course. If you want more info on that, you can get it. I'll leave the link in the description for that. It is Google Ads Mastery course. But if you found any type of value in this video, destroy that like button and destroy that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.